How many times have you undercharged for a project? And how does that actually make you feel? Like, do you feel happy about that? Or does it make you resent the project a little? Does it make it feel like work to you? And do you actually do your best work? Over the last couple of weeks, I have done a little bit of restructuring in my business and with my pricing. And I can tell you that I am 100% a more happy person inside for doing this, because I was not charging what I was worth for a very long time. And so I wanted to make this video to hopefully encourage anybody out there, because I know how it feels, and I know that so many photographers struggle with this and can relate to this topic, to charge your damn worth. Hey guys, I'm Amanda. I am a brand photographer based in Brisbane, Australia, and in today's video, I want to get a little bit more raw and real with you on this topic of undercharging and underquoting and valuing your services and what you're actually worth, because for a long time, I wasn't doing that, and I think it caused a lot of stress, anxiety. I wasn't actually 100% happy with my business because I just kept underquoting and undercharging, and I didn't like it. So I want to tell you a little bit about my own experience, and hopefully this may encourage you if you are struggling with this topic of increasing your pricing, charging what you're worth, to actually take action and do it. So for those of you who don't know, I work with my partner Alistair, who's a videographer. So I'm a photographer, he does video, and we have legally changed our business name to Timber Media House. So we're putting ourselves forward as, you know, a production house instead of just like me as a sole trader, like, hi, I'm Amanda. And for the last 2 years, we've had really consistent bookings. Like, we have been booked out consistently for the last 2 years. It's amazing. I'm incredibly grateful for it. I've loved every single project that we've worked on. Maybe not every single project. There's been a couple that I've regretted. And especially what happened this year is that I was taking on a lot of smaller paying projects. And I also found it really hard to say no to people, because, you know, they come to me and they say, oh, my budget is this. I really love your work. I'm like, okay, you know, let's do this package then that will fit within this budget. And so what was happening is I was just inundated with so many of these really small projects, but I was still putting, you know, hours and hours of work into each project, and I wasn't charging my worth. And so what happened was I was working 7 days a week. I wasn't having a break. I was just trying to do everything. You know what it's like being a business owner. You do the marketing, you do the accounting, you do your content creation. And then with that comes your creative projects, your pre-production, your shooting, your post-production, your admin, your emails. And oh my God, it just gets like, it blows up your mind. Your mind explodes because it is too much and you do everything. And while I had considered hiring a VA to help with emails, I started going through my emails and like, they can't answer that, they can't answer that, can't answer that. I was like, I might as well just do it myself. Because a lot of the stuff has to come from me as the creative on quotes and, you know, organizing locations and models and all that stuff. So what happened was I was just stressed out. I was anxious all the time. And I was like, I actually don't think I'm 100% happy in my business doing this. I was feeling what it felt like to be booked out, to be earning really good money. Like, we had our best financial months this year. It was amazing. We bought our first apartment. It was a really good year, but we've had so much growth this year that we haven't been able to keep up with it. We haven't had time to sit down and work on the business, our processes, our workflows, our pricing, and work out where it's going and what it looks like for us. Because at the end of the day, you're trading time for money, and there's only so much one-on-one work you can physically do before you just burn out. So a couple of weeks ago, I broke. I cried. Like, loud cried, like yelling, like throwing things, blaming my partner for stuff that, you know, wasn't really warranted. I felt completely overwhelmed. I felt everything coming at me at the very same time. And it felt like everything was demanding my energy and my time all at once. And I've seen what stress and anxiety does to people. It makes you sick. It can make you chronically ill. It can put you in hospital. I've experienced that with my close family members, my brother, my mom, and it's something that I never want to go through. So I'm very conscious about when I get stressed and I get anxious and like, this is not sustainable for me because I do not want to end up on a hospital bed. And so I think it was about a week after I had my breakdown that a girl messaged me on Instagram and asked, you know, how much are you charging? Like, it seems like you're overworked and you guys are really busy. Like, have you considered increasing your pricing? And this message was the catalyst for all the changes that I have recently made in my business that has made me a happier person. Her name is Jess Williamson. She's a business coach, and I will forever be so grateful to this girl because she allowed me to quickly change my mindset on so much and actually encouraged me to take really quick action. So I jumped on a coaching call with her literally like 3 days later. And she asked questions of me that I was too afraid to answer myself. And it was like I finally had permission and validation from somebody else who was not emotionally attached to my business. And I think that's a huge benefit of hiring a coach and investing in mentors because they are not emotionally attached to your business. And that same week, I actually had another coaching call with a photographer team based in America. And we talked about pricing. We talked about, where I wanted my business to go. And that week was like a life-changing week for me. And basically those two calls validated everything that I was feeling. I was too cheap for the value that I was putting out there. And all of this was working against me. It was working against my business. It was working against my growth. And it was working against my health. And so 1 week later, I took massive action from the information I was given from the coaching calls. I took my services guide off the website, scrapped all my pricing, my packages, and I was like, you know what? This is my new financial minimum investment if you want to work with us. We only provide custom quotes, and this is how it's going to be moving forward. And yes, this has been a very uncomfortable process for me. And some quotes that I've given have been really uncomfortable to send. I'm like, is this too much? But when I break it down, I'm like, no way. Like this is what I should be charging. It's just because I haven't been charging that for so long. I haven't been valuing my worth for so long. And you know what happened when I sent those quotes? Most of them were actually accepted. And I actually got really emotional about it because I was like, people are actually accepting a quote that I have valued so well that it's not underpriced, it's not overpriced, it is exactly what it should be. And I was like, this is how it feels. This is how it feels to have somebody finally value what I'm worth, but this is also how it feels for me to finally value what I'm worth. And it actually made me a happier person ever since I did that. Because overall, if we're not valuing our work, why should other people value it? Why should people want to pay more if we're not even comfortable charging what it's worth? That's what I figure. And I want to share this because I know that there are so many photographers out there. I've spoken to you on Instagram DMs that are going through the exact same thing. And I have seen some other people's pricing and I look at it and I'm like, this is so incredibly cheap. Like this is way too low. Even some of the students in my course Become a Brand Photographer, they message me their pricing and I'm always happy to give them feedback. And I'm just like, you gotta increase that. You gotta double these prices. And what this also does is it tarnishes the industry. So if you're charging really low for high quality work, brands get used to that. And if they come across a quote where it's like, oh, why are you charging so much when this photographer charged me this much for the same kind of quality? I was like, well, because they were underpricing, because they weren't valuing the work correctly. And so it's really important that we value our work and that we put our prices up when it's warranted. And we keep revisiting our prices to ensure that we are not only comfortable with what we're charging for our worth and what we think we're worth, but also the industry. And I know it can be a really uncomfortable thing to do to increase your prices. I was afraid to increase my prices for 1.5 years because I was afraid that I was going to lose clients. That I would basically have nothing left. But the 2 times that I increased my prices this year, twice, that didn't happen. I didn't really lose clients. And sure, I've had to say no to projects that no longer meet my minimum financial investment. I now have more creative energy to put towards the projects that do come my way that are higher paying. So our goal at the moment is to take on less work, but take on larger projects that pay more. Because at the end of the day, you will burn out. You will be overworked. You will start to resent it. You won't be 100% happy. And that's what happened to me. And it's just not sustainable. And you know what? This doesn't just apply to the photography industry. It applies to nearly every freelance industry. If you think that you are too cheap, you're probably too cheap and you need to increase your prices. And you're gonna be uncomfortable giving quotes. But if you don't, then you're just gonna be stuck in the same spot for a really long time. Now, if you want more insight into the coaching calls that I've had and how I've basically reworked things in my business, I do have a tutorial in my online course, Become a Brand Photographer, where I share all these details of my business so that it can help you guys with your own pricing and moving forward. And I would love to hear if this is a topic that you're currently struggling with or that you have struggled with and your own experience surrounding valuing your own work. But I hope that this video has been at least a bit encouraging or motivating to look at your own prices and be a bit more comfortable with charging your worth, because it's worth it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you found this video helpful, and go and follow me over on Instagram at Amanda Campeanu. I share a lot more tips and tricks on photography, more behind the scenes stuff. So we'd love to connect with you over there. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video.